Welcome to Inspiring Salon Professionals, the podcast that allows every therapist, nail tech and stylist to level up, build their career and reach for their dreams. Each episode will be looking at a different area of the industry, and along the way I'll be chatting with salon owners, industry leaders and experts who'll be sharing their stories on how they achieved their goals, made their successes, all to inspire you in your business and career. I'm Sue Davies, your host, award-winning salon owner and industry professional. Welcome to Inspiring Salon Professionals. Hi, and welcome to this week's Inspiring Salon Professionals. This week I'm going to be interviewing, and this is someone I've wanted to have on the podcast for so long, and we finally got it organised. This week we welcome Ryan Power. He's the co-founder of salon coaching and mentorship brand Salonology, in leagues with his wife Hollie Power, and he is a self-confessed marketing geek. They owned a day spa and salon, and they have for the last decade helped over 5,000 salon owners with courses, coaching, guides, programs, all that kind of thing. He's also author of 2 salon marketing books, The Successful Salon Marketing System and The Customer is Always Right, and 7.5 Other Outdated Myths Which Are Destroying Your Beauty Business. Sorry, I had to look down and read that then. So Ryan is all about helping salon owners to get into a successful mindset and a successful marketing plan. That's what he does. And you can also find Ryan hovering around the hummus aisles within any supermarket that he goes to, which we will be covering in the interview. So for now, I'm going to hand over to the interview. See you on the other side. So welcome, Mr. Power. And welcome to Inspiring Salon Professionals podcast. As I was just saying on my intro, I've waited to have you on my podcast for a very long time. So can you please, I have given you a little intro already, which was quite polite and nice, but can you please just give us a little bit of background about Ryan and what you do?
Sure. Of course. I mean, first and foremost, Sue, thank you for having me, and
Okay.
thank you for giving this platform to our industry as well, because I feel it's much needed. So I'm pleased that someone's doing it, and I'm pleased that it's you doing it.
Thank you so much.
So yeah, a little bit about me. Okay, so yeah, I'm Ryan Power, and I am a salon marketing geek, and I guess you would have to say I am a salon coach, even though I despise that terminology. Hollie, my wife, and I have been running Salonology now for the last 10 years. So it's 10 years old this year. That long. And in that time, that 10 years, it's grown to be certainly one of the largest group coaching programs for salon owners in the UK. We've got about 400 people that we work with every month. And that was off of the back of having our own day spa and salon, which we owned for about a decade. So pretty much what we did is when we sold that business, and really what we teach is all the stuff that worked so well for us when we had our own salon. So, and we do all of that. And one of the things that we are a bit different is we're really based around community. So rather than offering, one-to-one coaching, which most people do, everything we do is in a group format. So so that's what we do in a nutshell, and specifically we help people with making more money and getting a better work-life balance as well. Everyone says they want to earn more and work less, and Absolutely. It is possible, but only if you do the right things.
Yes, indeed. And I was in Salonology's Gold Club for quite a while, wasn't I? When I had my
Gold Club members for years. Yeah,
I know. I know it was, and I came across you through one of my friends, and she kept going, "You really need to be in here. You really need to be in here." So I think it was in. Do you know? Actually, I know exactly when it was, because I think I'd sort of seen you all around a little bit, and then back in, I think it was 2017 or 18. I was doing a talk at Professional Beauty in Manchester, and you happened to do a seminar or webinar the night before, and I was sat in my hotel room watching you deliver your Gold Club webinar, and I was like, yeah, I'm going to have some of that.
And here we are.
All these years later.
Yeah. And what's funny about that as well is that with our Gold Club, which is the name of the coaching program that we put people through, that's going to be 6 years old this year. And when we started that 6 years ago, we started with, I want to say 32 founding members who bought on day one. Half of them are still members today, and they've still been members
actually my friend Sarah.
later.
In fact, 2 of my friends, Sarah, but I think they're both
They're very much still in, yeah.
Yeah, I would. It's funny. I was saying to someone the other day, I'd still be in Gold Club, but I really do feel like I'd just be in there for fake reasons now, just for the socials, really. But
well, I mean, you say for fake reasons, but there are some people who are definitely only in there for the socials.
I know,
That
really
does
one day I'll come
happen
back.
for
Do
sure.
you know what? It's just so I can come to the Gold Club Christmas party. That's what I miss. That
Yeah,
was
well, and the funny thing is those social elements, we joke, but those social elements are actually quite a big part of what we do, because the simple truth of the matter, and really one of the reasons that sort of started everything, is that it's lonely in business, and even if you've got a team of 20 staff, it's still lonely at the top. And
definitely.
over time and time and time again, we speak to people and they feel they've got nowhere to turn, no one to speak to. The other half doesn't get it. Their friends and family don't get it, because us self-employed entrepreneurial types, we're a bit weird. So aren't we? We're a bit left of
I don't know
centre.
that I'd agree with you on that.
and normal people in the street, they don't get us, and we
No, they
don't get
really
them.
don't. I
And
still have people that just don't get what I do. And they really, and especially the stuff I do, like we were just talking about about the stuff that I do for free and for gratis. And it's like, why are you working so hard on that? Like the thing we just did at Professional Beauty last weekend, Helen Ward and I worked on that for 3 months, free of charge, to bring that together. And it's like, but it's like that wonderful phrase, the good of the industry. And people just don't understand why anyone would do something that they're not going to get paid for, or that they're
well,
going to.
I mean, the world is a selfish, self-centered place, so
Yeah.
they wouldn't understand that.
No.
But thankfully, so it does require people to do things like that sometimes for the industry, and I'll go ahead and make myself an industry spokesperson, and thank you personally for doing that for everyone.
Thank you. I know it was hard work, I have to say.
Who does
Do you
he
know what,
think
though?
he is speaking for the industry like that?
Yeah, that's it. That's fine. You go ahead and speak for the industry. But it's I know we found it really quite funny because people were going. One of my friends, Nina, she was like, you two are just like, you're queen. She kept saying to me, I'm going to bring a sash and a crown for you because you are queen of the industry. And I'm like, please just don't even go there. It's like ridiculous.
Yeah, like you're on a hen do. Yeah.
Yeah, that's it. I know. It's like, yeah, I'm queen. But that's not a crown I really want to wear. It's like, no, I'll wear a hen do crown, but not that one. But anyway, but we're here to talk about you, Ryan. So
Sure.
yeah, important, serious stuff. But yeah, so I did want to kind of just sort of go over a little bit about what Salonology does and the Gold Club, and obviously you have your podcast as well. You do so many different things and so many layers within Salonology and Gold Club, and now you've also got your Flourish. I'll come
Yes.
with the brain's gone. Flourish.
It's called Grow, Get Free and Flourish, which is the name of our free community. Grow, Get Free and Flourish. So that is our free Facebook group.
Yeah.
So we did have a much larger Facebook group, about 7,000 people in, but the algorithm just killed it. Yeah. And so no one was seeing the posts. So we set up a new one. Yeah, and it's called Grow, Get Free and Flourish. And anyone and everyone is welcome if you're a salon owner to come and join the party over there. And yeah, we do a whole load of different things. And but I think part of that comes down to principles of marketing itself, ironically, which is that you have to test different stuff, Sue. And you've got to try stuff and you've got to see if it works. And if it does work, you can do more of it. And if it doesn't work, stop doing it. And that's true within our salonology business as much as it is true if we still owned our salon, in which again we did.
I think it's one of the nice things though is when you watch the marketing coaches is that you do see them go through like different things that they're trying. And I think and sometimes even just sitting watching people like you go through your processes, you learn so much. Because and it's like, I know I do a lot of stuff with expert empires and stuff because I like to try and do things outside the industry a little bit more now.
Yeah.
And I watch Nick James and how he does stuff, and it isn't. And I've just been on his things actually, where he's talking about his 5 best programs. But even with that, his 5 best marketing techniques. But even within those, some of those have taken like 20 attempts to get them to work.
Absolutely.
And every business is different, isn't it? And I think it's one of the things that I really love about what you do with Salonology is that, you recognize the individuality of the businesses that you're working with and that not everything's going to work for everybody.
Well, I tell you what, Sue, what's so interesting about that as well is that most people will on something before they've even tried it one time, let alone more than that. And the reality of it is that most stuff isn't going to work first time, you know, and you've got to be, I know it's a bit of it's a well-worked cliche, but you have got to be prepared to fail and fail fast, you know, because that's how you get to those successes. And I think that there's so much of this, especially within the salon world. I think that a lot of people don't give new ideas enough of a try. You know, they try something, but they're not really trying it. Their idea of trying it is speaking to one client or doing something for a week, you know, and it's just not a big enough sample of data to really make any sort of sensible business decisions out of, you know. And that's one of the benefits that you have as you start to grow and become established as a business, is when you've actually then got a community of your own for your business, it's easier to get the feedback so much quicker then, and you can try stuff, and it's much easier as you grow, you know. It's when you're right at the start that's so much harder.
And I think as well that one of the things that I know that I've been guilty of over the years, and I see so often, is people, they do that, they might try it once, they might try it twice, but then they get some success and then they stop. And they don't maintain that success, and they don't continue to be consistent. And if you don't maintain that consistency, then eventually it will fail, because, you know, you get your initial batch of customers that come through the door as a result of your success. And then you're so busy trying to maintain them that you forget you need the next lot, because some of the older lot are going to get bored and go away. And I think it's just that whole maintenance process of how we book and retain our clients.
Yes. Oh, absolutely. And one of the first things I always recommend anyone that I speak to, what I recommend they do is I say to them, look, you know, think back to the biggest success that you had marketing wise. What was the one thing you did that brought in more customers than anything else? And they normally have something, and they'll say, oh yeah, it was this thing that I did. And I said, well, how many times have you done it since? Then I haven't done that. Do it again. You don't need to reinvent the wheel every time, you know. Go, and if you had an open night that was a super success, do it every 2 weeks if you want, as long as you put a different spin on it. Keep doing it until it doesn't work anymore, you know, rather than do something once, or even worse, don't even do it at all. You know, have an idea and don't even follow through with it to that extent, you know. And that happens a lot as well, you know. The average number of times that people try something is sadly less than one, because most people don't even try it the one time, you know. And that's pretty sad, really, when you think about it.
Yes, and I think as well, I was chatting with someone earlier this morning, and we were saying about, you know, I have a tendency to say yes to things. And sometimes that has amazing results, and other times it really doesn't. But I think sometimes you have to learn that you have to try stuff, and that you do need to walk through the doorway, and you need to at least poke your head around and just see if it's going to be a fit. And if it feels like it's going to be a fit, then walk that pathway and do it until it doesn't work anymore. And I do think that's, I mean, sometimes it's got me into trouble, and other times it's been very, very successful.
Well, I think it's one of those that it changes, I think, as well, as depending on where your positioning in your career is. Because at the start, the tendency is to say yes to everything, you know, and you kind of have to say yes to everything at that point, because you don't know where all those yeses are going to take you. And some of them are going to take you up a dead end, and some of them are going to take you up to the next level potentially. Whereas the more successful, for want of a better word, that you get, and the more your business grows, well, then at that point, you have to start being a bit more selective who you're saying yes to and who you're saying no to. And in fact, there does come a point where the balance tips, and it's more about saying no than saying yes, you know, because the more prominent you become within your own marketplace, whatever it is that you do, you're going to have more people asking you at that point, you know. So the number of requests you're going to get are going to go up. And the quality of those requests, based on where you are and where you're trying to go, that's going down. So you have to be kind of selective. And I feel like it's really easy to say yes, and it's quite difficult to say no sometimes.
And I think as well, so one of the things that we struggle with in this industry, and especially when you're trying to do marketing, is that people don't understand their ideal client. They don't understand who their demographic is. And people try and blanket market. So they want to hit everywhere. They want to hit the mums the nursery, they want to hit the nans who are having their, you know, their shampoo and set. Not that really happens so much nowadays, but you know, and there's all those people in between, all the professionals that work in the city and the mums at home with their kids, and you know, the ones that are trying to work part-time, and you're, you know, and they might love going to the cinema, or they might love going to football, or whatever it might be. Or they don't have their nails done, or they only have their faces done, or they like having their brows done. You're trying to hit everybody to try and get maximum impact. And I think it's a massive, massive mistake. And I knew my demographic very, very well when I had my salon. And I knew that I wanted a very, very niche group of women that had disposable income, that worked in particular, you generally worked in a particular mindset and a particular way, and that were free when we had opportunity for them. And so we hit very hard ladies at lunch kind of demographic, and we also hit the professional city workers, because we were on the edge of London and they were in abundance. So you know, I knew that I wanted the people that would spend the money I wanted to charge and that I needed to charge.
Well, I think that you can understand why people do go for a generalistic approach, and it's the same reason why that people try and offer, you know, 58 services rather than 3, is the same reason why they try and appeal to everyone rather than a much tighter demographic. And you can understand why, because logic tells you, well, aiming for more people means I'm going to get more clients. So you can understand why people do it. But yeah, it's a huge mistake, because the problem that you're going to have when you do that is, if you try and appeal to everyone, then you're going to end up appealing to no one. And the difficulty then is that we are in a competitive industry, and the barriers to entry into the industry are very low. And I bet everyone probably listening or watching has had the experience of someone just seemingly appear overnight on your doorstep as competition. You know, we've all had that, and it can happen. And it happens if you're a generalist, certainly, you know, it happens more often for you people. So the difficulty with that is therefore that you are so broad and so wide ranging that you end up trying to compete on price. And the problem with that is that then that just becomes a race to the bottom, with everyone undercutting each other, and quite frankly, no one wins. No. And again, the number of times I've spoken to someone, I've said, well, who is it you're trying to attract? And they say to me, women who live within 10 miles of me, you know, and it's like, that is just, you're just not gonna get anywhere with that. And it's probably worth talking about why that is, because some people might not understand why that is, you know, that is difficult. But the reason why is because to be able to get people to want to come and come to your salon and want to work with you and want to be the only person that they work with, you have to communicate with them in a way that they know that they are understood by you, in a way that they understand that you are the person for them. And that comes across in all the ways you're communicating. So everything that you're putting out as a business needs to be talking to that one certain person, you know. Now, let's say, for argument's sake, you're a fat freezing specialist, and you specialize just in helping people who have recently given birth, let's say, right? So you're specializing just on people that want to get rid of the mummy tummy, right? Now, if that was, which is a really, really small niche, right? But if that was your small niche and you went for that, you would probably mop up, because you would soon become known as being the person who only does that, you know? And as a result of that, being known for that, everyone is going to flock to you, you know? And all of the things you're talking about are going to be based around small children and being a mum and all those types of things, which is just going to attract more and more of the people that you want. And if you did that, you could probably charge twice the amount as the salon up the road who does exactly the same treatment, you know? And it's that idea of the smaller the gap you can make, that the smaller number of people that you can appeal to, the better. And just make sure that you're the only one that those people want to work with. And if you can do that, you will get more recommendations, you can charge more money, you can be positioned as an expert, you can get better opportunities. And it's funny, we spoke before the recording started, so, and you mentioned Gordon Ramsay. And the first thing that Gordon Ramsay does on Kitchen Nightmares, right? Every time he goes in, first thing he does, what does he do? Gets their menu and rips it up, doesn't he? And he takes them from like 60 dishes to 6. And he goes, here's the 6 or 8 dishes we're going to do from now on. And you're going to learn how to do these 8 dishes amazingly well. And all of the owners are like, oh my God, you can't do that because, we're known for this and this and this and this. And he's like, you can't be known. Yeah, you can't. Yeah. But also you can't be known for your spaghetti and your burgers and your curry. You can be known for one of those things. You can't be known for all of them. And it's exactly the same in the salon world. If you want to be known as the best, waxer in your town, then that's fine. But you can't really be the best waxer and the best lash artist and the best nail tech, because you can only really specialize in a couple of things max.
Absolutely.
People just think you're just making it up and just calling yourself the expert at everything, Yeah.
And it isn't like when I have my business, when I have my salon, I'd built my career as a nail tech. And even though I'd started off desperately wanting to be a holistic therapist, I used to get to do that occasionally with people who didn't know me as a nail tech. But I fought so hard to try and break out of the nail tech mold. But because that's what we were known for, we had expert status locally for it. So everyone recommended us for nails. And I fought so hard against it. And in the end, I had to kind of give up and just go, okay, so let's just bring my holistic thing down to a few core treatments that I'm going to do. And then I can talk to people and I can add stuff if I need to. But it was a really hard pill for me to swallow, because, most of us love the fact that we can be generalists. But if you have something you're particularly good at, or even, within a salon, one of the things I've been talking about a lot recently is that, we've got all these people that are coming into industry and new professionals that are going, actually, I want to do this and I don't really want to do that. And if you're employed, they might go off sick because they might have a day of intimate waxing that they just go, no, I really don't want to do that. So harness those skills and let them be an expert within your business, so that they can start building an expert status for that, whilst you, and as the salon, you can kind of differentiate it a little bit within in-house, but you've got to be, especially if it's a solo business, you've got to niche yourself into something that is not everything. And having 60 things on your treatment menu is hard.
It is,
and maintain.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh yeah, there's a whole load of reasons why you wouldn't want to do that. And not only that though, even with what you're saying there with regards to, and we've got clients who do that, and they say, oh well, Julie's going to be our waxing expert, and Sandra's going to be our lash expert, and what have you, which is fine. But even then, as an overall business, the messaging you're putting out has to be multiplied, because you can't send out a marketing message which is selling both waxing and
it's got to be targeted.
It's got to be one or the other.
Yeah.
So straight away, if you've got 5 specialists working under you, well, you've just multiplied your marketing spend by 5.
This is
because it's going to be much harder.
You've got to break that demographic down into the ones that like lashes. It's like, if we take it down to, like you and I both love dogs. I like cats as well. I used to have cats, but we both love dogs. And it's that, but that analogy of if you're trying to talk to a dog lover about engage in the same way.
No,
and
absolutely not.
If someone sent something out to me about spiders, that'd be in my trash gone. And it's because but people can have that kind of reaction to certain treatments and things, can't they? It's like, if they've had a bad experience somewhere, they're never going to have their eyelashes permed again, or have an LVL. They're never going to do.
Absolutely. And I think the other issue with that is, what I think a lot of people don't give enough thought to is the reasons why people buy stuff. Because you need to understand the reasons why your clients come to you, because when you have an understanding of that, it's going to be easier to use that information to attract other people who are like them. And it's again that, go back to the example that we just made up a moment ago with the fat freezing for the mummy tummies, for example. Something like that would actually be really, really easy to market, because it's easy to find people who have recently had children. They're not difficult to find, right? Well, A, they're everywhere. But secondly, they hang out together in large groups, both online and in person. Really easy to target, right? New mums, really, really simple to target, okay? And you understand that lots of them have a certain problem that they want to solve, And if you've got something which helps them solve that problem, and you've done it for other people and can show them how easy it is for you to solve it for them, that makes you appealing to them. And you can paint them a picture of how much more wonderful their life would be afterwards, which again is not going to be difficult to do because they already want it, right? And they would actually be a really, really easy sale. What is a much, much harder sale is if you are selling, let's say, for argument's sake, nail services to just anyone that wants them, and you're in competition with 20 other salons.
Yeah.
Because how, because what are someone's needs or deepest desires and wants for their nails aren't as easy to talk about as they are for someone who is just giving birth or whatever, right? Or maybe not just giving birth, but
there would be a contraindication there.
Yes, exactly. But a new mum, a mum of a toddler or whatever it might be.
6 weeks post check.
Exactly. So again, because of that, not only are they easier to target, but they're easier to talk about things that are going to be of importance to them. Where would someone hang out who wants their nails done? Well,
and I think
that's harder.
Yeah, when I first entered the industry back like 20 years ago, it was easier to find those people. It was easier to find the nail people because nails was a luxury experience then. And then in 2009, gel polish happened and shellac and gelish and the world changed. And it became not a luxury, it became part of people's weekly, like fortnightly habits. And it became a habit, not a luxury. And it became a routine part of people's lives. And when that happens, you end up with this crossover, the same as hair people, like with any hairdresser, that, they're always going to be those people that go to Boots and buy a box color because they can, and it's easy and they can do it themselves. And this is like now the transition we have with nails is that's starting to happen because people see it as like, and I don't like to use the word really, but they see it as a right to have their nails done. They're entitled to have their nails done. There's no barrier to them having their nails done. They literally can walk into any salon, especially on a high street. There's a lot of salons that are just like walk-in salons. They can walk into those salons and get their nails done with no appointment, with no concern, whatever. That's a whole other podcast. But it's removed the need to have nails done. It's like now it's just I get nails done. Whereas, I need to have my fat belly removed after I've had a baby because it's like that it hasn't quite gone back how it did, and I want it to look better because it's it's affecting my confidence, it's affecting my self-esteem, and all of those things. Which, as a professional, it's not that nice to try and get people to buy into that because it's quite a negative headspace, isn't it? But the fact that we can then make them feel so much better by improvement is what we, it's what we specialize in. That's what we do. Although we have to kind of market on a way that makes it feel a little bit icky, but it's because you're buying into what their problem is or making.
Well, it's only I mean, it's only icky if you think. I mean, I don't think it's icky.
I know you don't. This is half my problem, Ryan.
And if I've got something that's going to improve someone else's life in some way, then I owe it to them to tell them about it and to explain to them how it might improve their situation. And then if they still don't want to do it, well, then that's up to them. But I've at least got to, I believe that I've at least got to explain it. And actually, I think that is a big, big problem across the industry, is that a lot of people don't sell enough treatments, definitely enough products or enough services, because they are scared to ask for the sale, because they wouldn't pay for it themselves, so that they assume other people wouldn't.
That one, I wouldn't pay that myself, is just, But the thing
they confuse their own needs with that of their client,
Yeah. And I think as well is, I know many people that have that. Well, I wouldn't pay that. Isn't that a bit expensive? But I know when I moved to where I am now, the first thing I did was look up probably the most expensive salons in the area, because I don't have a lot of treatments done now. But when I do, I want to go somewhere that has the same values as me and looks like my old salon and feels like my old salon. So I go to
feels clean,
feel comfortable. Somewhere clean. Somewhere the therapists actually have respect for their clients and all that kind of stuff.
The whole concept that people want the cheapest of everything is just, which I genuinely think that some people believe that in our industry. They think, oh, well, people are only going to come to me if I'm the cheapest. That whole concept is just so flawed as to be farcical, really, because all you got to do is look out the window, and you see people driving new cars. Well, if people are driving new cars, then they can't be bothered about the price is the most important thing,
No.
because they could have bought a cheaper car, or they could have bought a bike, or they could have walked, which is
Yeah.
free. And they've decided, why isn't everyone eating 5p noodles from Lidl?
Yeah.
Why isn't everyone wearing their clothes from the charity shop? People do not want the cheapest of it. Well, some people
people do.
want the
Some
cheapest
people
of
do.
everything. They don't make good clients, so they should be who
No,
we're trying to repel from our salons. We
absolutely.
should be going after the people that have got not only the ability to pay, but take great delight in paying, and not least because they hang around with other people like them, and they'll probably bring some of their friends along as well. And
Absolutely.
I'm here for that.
Yeah.
And again, I think that going back to that, how people confuse what they would pay with what someone else would pay, that's also a reason why they really cap what they put on their menu. One of the things I always ask people that I'm working with, I always say, look, if I come into your salon this afternoon, first of all, can I spend £250 with you? Is that even possible? Could I just book treatments worth that in your business? And what is the most expensive thing you do?
Yeah.
Because if the most expensive thing on your menu is only 60 quid or something, then you're losing out big time, because there's people that want to spend
treatments.
a lot more than that.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. There's people that want to spend a hell of a lot more than that.
Mm.
So, you've got to, and just because you don't want to spend that is irrelevant.
Yeah,
That's
or just because you don't want to be
irrelevant.
laid on the massage. I mean, one of the best treatments I ever had years ago was at a place called the Chakra Spa down in East Grinstead in Sussex. And it was the first time, oh God, it was years and years ago. I think I might have just been about to open my salon. It was just after I opened. But it was a game changer. And I had their signature treatment, and it was top to toe, cost me about 150 quid. And it's got to be about 15 years ago. And it was the most amazing thing. I was not on the couch for long enough. It was I think it was about a 2.25 hours, 2.5 hour treatment. Oh, it was amazing. And when I opened my salon, I had my version of that treatment. And yeah, we didn't do loads of them, but when we did, I earned really, really well.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I mean, I was having this conversation with someone just yesterday, and when we had our salon, we offered HIFU was one of the things that we offered, and we charged £1,000 upwards for that treatment, and takes 90 minutes to deliver the treatment. And remember, of course, not everyone is going to pay £1,000 for a treatment. Of course not. There's less people out there. I do understand that, but that's a lot of sets of nails. It was for our salon at that point in time, and it's like, would I rather look after one person, or would I rather look after, 200 people, and it's a no-brainer in my opinion, so you have to have, for anyone who's listening or watching who wants to make more money, right, which is a pretty common goal in our industry, because most people don't earn enough, then you got to start having some higher price solutions for people. Definitely that. And thankfully, I do feel like the industry is finally listening and moving in that direction a little bit. Advanced treatments are obviously becoming more and more of a thing.
And you don't have to be an esthetician to be able to charge a lot of money for something,
No.
And you don't have to have machines. You can still, create amazing treatments that can last, an hour and a half, 2 hours. You can build those treatments. So there's nothing like it else. There's nothing else like it locally. There's nothing else like it in your salon. There's no comparison to what is in that treatment that people can go, oh, actually, if I went there, I can have that. And then I can have that. But, and if they had all those things individually, they'd be paying probably £300 or £400. But you can make a treatment up for like £200, £250 that gives them £400 worth of what they would value from somewhere else, and have that all in one place, in one treatment, and they can just be in the Zen place for the rest of the year, probably.
Absolutely. And there's a lot to be made for, I mean, we used to have this strategy that we used to do every single month in our day spa and salon. In fact, it's one of the things I talk about in my book. And one of the things that we used to do is we used to offer an off menu experience every single month. And it was only available for 1 month. And if you didn't get it that month, and we did that every month for about 5 years. And it was one of the real things that really turned our fortunes around and took us from, average to exceptional, especially in terms of the numbers that the business was doing, because it got people coming back to us far more regularly than people went from, it was about 9 or 10 weeks that people were coming to see us, to every sort of 5 to 6 weeks on average, and that makes a world of difference to a business. And indeed now, even now within our Gold Club, that's still something that we teach. So we show people how to do that every single month.
Yeah.
And it gives people an excuse to come back and do business with us more regularly. Because there's a lot of people, Sue, who, again, this is especially true, you know, post 2020, there's a lot of people whose way of treating themselves each week or each fortnight is a few hours in the salon. And there are some people for whom that is their sacred space, where the only place they don't have the kids going crazy, the dog up the wall, mobile phone going off every 2 minutes, glued to their phone all the time. You've just got, you know, you can come over to my sanctuary and you've got a bit of, you know, real you time,
Yeah,
you know,
absolutely.
and people will pay good money for that, because you don't know, you know, some people's lives are even more bonkers than our own, and they want to escape from them. There's a lot of people out there that want to escape from their lives, sadly.
Absolutely.
And as salon owners, we can offer them a place to escape too.
We can facilitate that.
We're going to charge them, but
we are going to charge them. We're going to make some money from them. But I think I used to do that from the moment I opened my salon. I think within the first 2 months of opening, it was like, right, we're having treatment of the month. And it was always something that was on the menu, but we'd add value, or we might discount. Back then, I would probably discounted it a bit as well and throw in an extra bit. But like now, if I was doing it, there's no discounts. It is all about added value. But and actually, this is going to bring me to what we're actually supposed to be talking about today.
Oh, go on.
Which is emailing, because we used to email that out every month. And I know that, like, obviously you're a huge advocate for email. And one of the things one of the reasons that kind of sparked, I need Ryan on now, is because following the recent Meta outage, when half our feeds went, oh my God, I've been hacked. That's my life gone. And it isn't only our personal life history gone, it's our work life history, contacts, data, anyone that has anything to do with our business potentially gone. And you have used email consistently. And I don't think really there's many days when I don't have an email from you, Ryan. I think I'd have withdrawal symptoms. Every now and again, I think I don't really need these emails from Ryan anymore. But sometimes, and it is, and you, I mean, if you do your tracking, you know who's opening and stuff anyway. So you know I probably open them occasionally if you're sitting stalking me that badly, which I doubt if you do. But really, one of the things I wanted to have you on here onto the podcast for was to talk about the benefits of email. And I've had MailerLite and MailChimp and Breville. I've got loads of those things that I've built over the years. And probably a lot of that has come. I mean, I always had email systems that I had in place when I had my salon before I came into your world. But being in your world reinforced how important that is, because so much about what you do, and that whole, you know, Meta is not our world. Our own world is our world. And even with like MailerLite, there's potentials they could get hacked and you could lose data. So I'm sure you have methods for that. I know what methods I would use to do that, to make sure that my data stays safe and with me. But I will let you explain a little bit about the importance of email, how you manage it, and what the benefits are of email.
Yeah, sure. Well, I think one of the key benefits, as you've touched on there, is that you own the data. That's like key benefit number one, right? So as you say, you know, when you have a Instagram page, a Facebook page, you are borrowing space, those people from Mr. Zuckerberg and his cronies at Meta, right? You are just being allowed to show some of those people some of your stuff. You do not own the data. You do not own anything about it. It is just there for rent. And you can, and people have, lost everything overnight. If you do something that is outside of their terms and conditions, they have the right to just close your account overnight. And it does happen, and you don't get a warning, right? And there are people, like, for example, people that break their terms of service with two things which really annoy me. Like these sort of like and share style competition posts. Most of those are breaking Facebook's rules. They can shut you down overnight for doing those. And even worse, the one that annoys me even more, the ones where people do like these lucky ball draw things. Have you seen these? Oh, pick a number.
I mean, it breaches so many regulations that, because you can't. There's a whole load of laws, let alone Facebook rules.
Oh my gosh! Well, exactly. It comes under the pretense of the Gambling Act anyway. And so the HMRC are gonna probably want to know about it, but also as well, it's like it's one step ahead of like the meat raffle at the Dog and Duck, isn't it?
Yeah.
And it's like, is that really the message and image you're trying to portray for your professional salon? I guess it does depend on who your target market is. Ultimately, that might be the perfect thing for your target market. Either way, probably still illegal. So you want to think about how you're doing it. But those things really annoy me, and they can get you shut down. Right now, if literally overnight Zuckerberg can just pull the rug from underneath you, and you will lose everything. You can't get your data back. You've got no way of communicating with these people ever again. Email gets you around all of that because you own the data. You have someone's permission to contact them, and you have their physical database. Now, you should do a backup every single month and export your contacts from whatever system you use. So if MailerLite go under, you can simply upload that CSV to ConvertKit or MailChimp or any other supplier, and actually, you're up and going again.
We should probably explain for those that are not in the know what a CSV file is. Do you want to explain?
A comma separated values file, which is kind of a bit like a didn't expect us to get this geeky today, but okay.
Admin geeking.
So basically it's like a spreadsheet, but it's downloaded in a format that can be recognized by the computers and servers easily. So it basically means that you can move your data to another location very, very easily. And you do that simply when you're in Excel or Numbers. If you're a Mac user, you literally export and then export to CSV, and it just means that you've then got a hard copy of your own database, which you should be doing anyway.
And when you go to your new supplier or you want to go and do something additional, you just upload. And
you just put
everything into that system with your first, always save them as first name and last name and the email address.
And any other data that you want to collect,
you wish to take, they wish to supply.
There are many more reasons why email is also so. That's number one, right? You own that data. So if anything happens, and it does, and we saw recently there was that blackout, and don't think that's going to be the last blackout we're ever going to have. It won't. There will be more. Don't think that Facebook or Meta won't get hacked by someone at some point with much worse impact. They will. I imagine people are probably trying to hack them as we speak, I suspect, because they're a massive fish.
And
so people are going to be going after them.
And what we also need to remember is in world backdrop, we're going into American election. There's war in the Middle East. There's war in Russia.
There's war everywhere.
And and just those three things on their own, even if they were one thing, there would be problems going on with Facebook.
Absolutely.
Because they're utilized and manipulated by large organizations, or can be.
Of course they are. Yeah, of course they are. And not only that, I mean, history showed us what happened the last time there were American elections going on. They then got hoiked up in front of Congress and got into a whole lot of trouble. And I suspect they're only a couple of strikes away from just having the entire platform pulled out from under them if they're not careful.
Potentially.
So it can happen. Not just you might lose your account. Well, the platform you'll have the account on could go. I think people forget that MySpace was once bigger than Google, had more traffic every month than Google. That was the world's #1 website, MySpace, which anyone who doesn't know what I'm talking about when I keep saying MySpace, it was social media network #1, pretty much. Yeah. It was there before Facebook, and it was like a music-based social media, the first social media network. It was the most popular website in the world. No one today has even heard of it. So,
although randomly, I was just doing something on my website yesterday. Doing something on a website yesterday, and on there it asked me for my MySpace URL. I was like, what?
Maybe someone's bought the URL and brought it back to life. I don't know, but
is it still really a thing? I'm going to have to go and investigate now. But we do. We're very aware that all of these things are there for their shareholders, and they are there. And if anything goes wrong, like any business, they can go under.
At the end of the day, every business is ran for the profit of its owners and its shareholders. And that's the same for your business, Sue, my business, every single business. The only businesses that are exceptions to that are charities. Yeah. And I think a lot of people forget that sometimes. It's like you know, you have to be making a profit. Otherwise you don't have a business. It's as simple as that. You know, you have an expensive hobby if you're not making a profit. But either way, we're getting a little bit off topic there.
Yes, we are slightly. We're going into politics and everything.
Yeah, we are a little bit. But with the email, so you've got, I say, you own the data. That's one huge advantage. The next advantage, which I feel is going to be also really, really relevant to people, is that when you then communicate with people via email, particularly if you do it in the way that I teach, then it means you can have conversations with clients, with potential future clients. Now, the reason why that is so important is because it's getting harder and harder and more expensive, and will continue to do so, to do that on social media, right? The glory days of social media, when you just put up any post and they show it to everyone, they are long gone, long gone. You know, I remember when I first started using Facebook, like 15 years ago or something, it was amazing. And you literally could put up a post and they would show it to everyone who followed you, you know? And that has long since gone. And with it, one of the problems that I've sensed with social media in that respect is it spoiled people, and it made people believe that you can just post stuff and that's all you have to do for your marketing, and everyone will just come, you know? And it's like, God, if you were around pre-social media, when we had to do things like putting
Yellow
adverts
pages
in newspapers and yellow pages,
Yeah,
and
walking
designing
around the
flyers
streets.
and all these
Yeah.
sorts of things. Yeah, it was like you had to earn your clients. And then social media came along, and it was just like, oh, just show it to everyone. Everyone's there, and it's really easy to get in front of people. And for a few years there, it was amazing. And then they went, oh, well, we're going to make you pay now. And it was like, oh, okay, because ads are still really, really cheap and really targeted. And that was still amazing. And now they're not quite so cheap. And now the problem now with that is that most people don't have a strong enough grasp on their own numbers, and they run adverts which actually lose them money because they don't understand how much profit they're making on their treatments. So that is a whole different set of problems. But with email, you get to have this conversation with your client in a fairly intimate way. And by that, I mean that it's just they're there in their inbox and they're reading your message. Whereas on social media, you're sort of trying to shout, but then you're only, you know, half a thumb scroll away from them being in somewhere completely different, listening to someone completely different. So it's a more controlled environment when you're in that in their inbox. That's why I use the word intimate in that way. And build relationships with people using email in that way much more simply, I believe, than on social media. And not only that, but you also can, let's say, have a real conversation with them as well. Even if sometimes it's only one way. It might just be you doing all the talking to begin with. And certainly when they're done in conjunction with one another, that's when things can really get interesting. And I think that email gets very overlooked. And a lot of people that are doing it, in my opinion, they aren't doing it in what I would say is the right way as a small business.
So I think one of the differences with your emails that makes it stand out massively, and whenever I go to email our database, I'm straight on MailerLite, and I go into their thing and I do drag and drop, and I make a very pretty email that's then very heavily loaded and it takes a lot of bandwidth. And what you do is you just type an email. And do you know what? And it was only recently, and I've been receiving your emails for a very long time, and it was only recently I actually realized that's what you do. And it was like,
so that's one of the big secret is probably the wrong word, but one of the big secrets, if you like, is so I definitely am a proponent for sending personal emails that are not the same as what most people. So most people are sending newsletter style emails that are covered in images, big flashing fonts, logos, all of that. Yeah. I am of the opinion that none of that is required. And it actually, in my opinion, makes the impact worse because people know what a newsletter is and they are conditioned to receive them and not respond to them. You know, we get them from Boohoo, Boots, Sainsbury's, all the big retailers all send them out. And have you ever responded to one of those? You ever replied to one of those?
No,
No, of
but
course
I
not.
do
No,
believe
no one has.
over the years, I do believe I may actually have responded to you once or twice and actually emailed you back.
Exactly. I get emails every time I send an email, people
Yeah.
reply to them, you know? And as I say, and this was exactly the way we did it in our salon as well, by the way. It's not, you know, you don't have to be a coach for this to
Yeah.
work. It's exactly what we did in our salon. And yeah, we send simple story-based emails, often about personal topics, which again, people, like everyone who's on my email list knows the name of my dog. Everyone knows what I get up to outside of work, because they're the things that I talk about. I'm not trying to sell people on our coaching program every time I send an email, you know. I do that sometimes, but not on every single email, you know, because then who's going to want to keep receiving them? What I'm trying to sell people on is, trust me, we can be friends, because if someone knows me, likes me, and trusts me, they're going to be more likely to actually listen to what I'm
And if
saying,
they
right?
like hummus, they're going to be your best mate.
Exactly. So exactly. So you know that, because I talk about, that's another thing I talk
because
about.
and
It's
it
not
is
a stupid thing to talk about.
Well, yeah, but and I could say when you first started talking about hummus, I was like, this is clever. And the thing, but you do love hummus.
Of
But
course I do.
I
That's
can remember
true.
one of the first, I think probably one of the first posts in Gold Club where you started to, I think it was one of the first ones in, and the thread, it was hundreds of comments, hundreds of comments. People going, oh, my favorite one's caramelized onion from Sainsbury's, or it's the one from Marks and Spencer's, like the velvet. I mean, I don't even eat hummus, but I know all these hummuses. And probably because you've got in my head about hummus.
Do you know what? I probably get tagged in a hummus recipe every couple of days. Someone saw this and thought of you, or a picture of like some Lego or something like that. Because these are all things that I talk about. And the reason I talk about them is partly to humanize our brand. You know, it's we're humans that run our brand, which is something which is really important nowadays. I'm a big advocate that people buy people first. So, you know, people buy people. And one of the real things that breaks my heart, and I see it all the time, and that is salon owners who are hiding behind their.
Sorry, my headphones have just died. Hopefully you can still.
Yeah, no, we lost that last sentence.
Okay, so yeah, so just to go back, so yeah, it breaks my heart when they hide behind the logo of their salon. You'll go onto their Insta, you can't see who owns the business, you can't see any pictures of them. It's just all pictures of nails normally, you know, and or their day to day. And yeah, and the reality with that and the problem with that is that when people buy into you first, they're going to be way more inclined to listen to what you're actually saying. Plus, it gives you way more content. And as I say, and it humanizes you, which is really important nowadays, because we're moving into this AI. You know, AI is here. It's not about to go anywhere, and that's fine. And AI can be used for lots of exciting things, but what it can't be used to do is replace human connection at the moment. No. And as a result, it will come. Yeah,
I tended to think that was scary about what it's going to be able to do in about another 5 years. But
yeah, I don't doubt that for a second.
Yeah.
But with that said, at the minute, people want that human connection. So give it to them. So give it to them. You know, it's I'm a human, you're a human. Let's have a conversation. This is how I can help you. Is that going to be of interest to you? You know, it's like scraping it back to the basics of, and that is really what business is, in my opinion. You know, it's I've got this, I think it can help you. You know, if you've got that need or that want or that desire, then let's talk, you know, and let's help you with it.
And I do think that whole personal connection thing, you know, I mean, I know, like I hate this thing. I always end up saying when I had my salon, but when I had my salon, you know, my feed was filled, you know, like when I got my dog, you know, he was like the salon dog, and he, you know, and we have photos of him as a puppy, and we've all, you know, the girls in the salon and stuff, and with clients and things, and we posted them, and people respond to it because it's real. And I think if you can kind of get that across in any marketing, whether it's email marketing or your social media marketing, putting across that whole thing of like, you are a human being and this is what I love. And it's funny actually, because you were saying about the Lego, and where was I at the weekend? Where was I? Can't think where I was. And someone was talking about Lego, and they were saying, and it was somebody I know, their partner's brother, does Lego. He buys and sells Lego. And that we're having this whole conversation, and they were being quite, probably a bit dismissive of it. I'm like, why would anyone do that? And I'm like, do you know what? Maybe I ought to get his details, because I know someone that may like to know him. Because I know that you an absolute like Lego fan. And I was thinking, actually, I've got tons of Lego. Maybe Ryan wants my Lego. My son's Lego. We've got a massive black sack full of Lego, unfortunately not in its boxes or with its instructions any longer, which isn't very helpful. But I'm sure you'd be able to make an amazing from it. But you're the Lego thing, and if you've got something that is like is a hobby like me, I post regularly on my feed my forest walks. So I started walking in the forest like this time last year. And so whenever I'm up there, I usually go around sunset, and there's some amazing images up there. And sometimes the dogs will be in it. Sometimes I'll do a selfie. Sometimes I'll do a video. But it's all of those things that people connect me with walking in the forest. So I could utilize that. I do it all the time. Same as you with your park runs,
Yeah, absolutely.
Every weekend you do park run. And it's all things that people connect with you for.
100%, and that is the word, connection, because that's what not only is that what the world is craving right now, but that is what's going to bring people into a business. So again, for anyone that's listening thinking, well, how can I, what does this look like actually for me in my salon? It is talking about those other things. Basically, what you are doing is you are giving people an opportunity to connect with you. You're saying, this is something that is of interest to me. And if that is of something to interest to you as well, then we then have a common shared bond. And that then brings us closer to one another. For example, if your salon is a vegan salon, let's say you're a vegan salon owner and you're really passionate about cruelty-free products in every part of your process, you should be talking about that all of the time. And the reason why is because anyone else that shares that belief as you is going to be magnetically drawn to your business. Absolutely. And yes, they will pay a premium for it. And if you are really into eco and saving the planet,
I was just going to say eco-sustainability, because they're huge trends at the moment.
Then talk about it all the time, because again, people are interested in that. So the people that want that will connect you and come to you for that. But also the other really good thing is the people that are like anti that, the people that can't stand that, and there will be some of those. Hey, I love landfill, right? Whatever. Those people, they are going to be turned off, right? Which is good, because we're not trying to be all things to all people. And they would make terrible clients, because they'd come in and they'd complain that you were charging them extra for all this eco stuff that they don't care about. So they would make a terrible client anyway. So you just want to repel them right out of the bat.
And it does, and it comes down to that demographics thing again as well, isn't it? Of knowing who the clients are that you want to attract, knowing who you want. And I do think actually that we talk about client attraction a lot, but I do think that the flip of it, of like the client repellent, is actually as important, and if not probably more important, because if there's 10 people in a room, you probably only want 1 or 2 of them, and you need to work out how to not talk to the 8 people.
100%. And if you
which is a bit backwards marketing, but it is kind of.
No, it is. And I think some of that, what that comes down to, so, is in terms of marketing basics, it's about having the right message, for the right person, and putting it then in the right place. That's really what it comes down, like the market, message, and media, right? So you've got to be saying the right thing to the right people in the right place. And if any one of those 3 things doesn't exist, then you're not going to get it heard by the right person. So you have to think about what that message your target person wants to hear. Who is that person? What do they need to hear? And then where the hell are they? And they're the 3 things that you need to do. And of course, the opposite of that is, as you say, about who you're trying to repel. And if you ever want a demonstration of why you should try and repel some people, all you got to do is run a Groupon offer for 1 week and what sort of clients that brings into your salon. And then you'll understand immediately why you don't want to be all things to all people.
Yeah. Indeed. And one thing, I'll just go back to where you were just saying about like the importance of connection to the person. A seminar I sat on recently, or webinar I sat on recently, and they were talking about the power of connection to the human. And they gave 2 examples. Apple. And Apple, I can't remember the numbers now, but roughly when Steve Jobs was in charge, obviously, I mean, he's passed away now, but they now have the COO, I think he is like Chief Operating Officer, or the CFO. It's one of those. And he is, whatever his name is, Joe Blogs.
Tim Cook, one of them, I think.
That's him. I can't, you know, the name's gone. I can't. Yeah, brain, no good. But he has got something like 4 million people that follow him. Apple has got hundreds of thousands or maybe 1 million. And he has got millions and millions of people that follow him. And he's not even Steve Jobs, but it's now his job to be the face of Apple. And you look at Virgin's got something like 170,000, I think it was, followers on Instagram. Richard Branson, just millions and millions, because people connect with Richard Branson rather than connect with his brand.
Absolutely. I'm sure Elon Musk has got way more followers than SpaceX and Tesla, all his other projects added together.
And I know it's, you know, they're obviously like mega billionaires and, you know, they're, you know, huge people in their industries. And, you know, and for most people listening to this, you know, you're a salon owner on a local high street or a salon owner with a home cabin, but you still need to be as important to your customers as they are to their customers.
Definitely. And in fact, I would say, and people, you know, you say, you know, you're just a salon owner. Well, to your clients and to the right people, salon owners, you are, as business owners, you are like kind of like mini micro local celebrities is how I like to encourage people to think about it. Because if you bumped into one of your clients in B&Q when you're getting some potting plants for the spring,
Firstly, it's very weird when that happens.
Would they say hello to you? Yes. So if they've recognized you, how is that any different to recognizing someone because they are on TV or in a film? There's no difference. There's no difference. So you are a very, albeit a very minor celebrity to maybe a very small number of people, but a celebrity nonetheless. And when you start thinking of yourself in those terms with respect to your salon, I feel that is actually where a lot of the gains come, because your clients, they want to deal with that.
And if they're with their sister and their daughter, saying, oh, who's that? And then she'll go off and she'll say, oh, she does my nails, or she does my, oh, you know, how amazing you've been saying my skin looks. That's what she's been doing to me.
Exactly.
And it's that whole word of mouth, which is another whole level of marketing.
Yeah, absolutely. And say that again.
One of the best methods of marketing.
Well, it is one of the best, but the problem with it is it's very difficult to scale, and it's not very predictable, because it's not easy for us to control when people are going to tell other people about us. So whilst we can do certain things to try and create them having those conversations more regularly, it's sadly not very
just go and hang out in B&Q or go and hang out in Sainsbury's and just hope some clients come in
all afternoon. Exactly. Loitering around.
Loitering with intent of like maybe meeting a client who can tell someone.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
But really and truly though, that's kind of what Facebook's become, hasn't it? It's like we're all sort of sitting there waiting for someone to come along that's gonna recognize us and want to talk to us.
Well, look, social media, the whole premise of social media exists because people are nosy. That is the entire premise of social media, is people nosing at what other people are up to, you know. And especially when you used to go, if you rewind a little bit in time, everyone used to, what did you used to do? Go on there, first things you do, look up who you went to school with, seeing what they're doing now, and you look up exes, things like that. Oh, wow, what happened there? You know. And you not to contact them, not to talk to them, just to
just want to see.
Just to go and have a look. Well, because of that whole premise is just based on, as I say, seeing what people are up to. So as business owners, we can take advantage of that by actually putting something out that's worth seeing, you know, letting people have a good nose at what we are up to and what our business persona or business personality is.
And to me, it was always like everything I ever did with my business online was about it being like another shop front, because that's what it is. And it is like you're saying, that thing about people being nosy, is it gives people the opportunity to walk up to the window and, you know, try and get the curtains back and see what's in there. And if you haven't got the right information, one of the things I've noticed with all the judging and stuff I've done is that the amount of times we get salons or professionals that are up for, you know, they're a finalist, top 5 in the country. You go on their website or you go on their Instagram, and there's literally just photos of treatment outcomes. That's it. There's no photos of them. There's no prices. They're on. I could go on for so long, but there's so many missed opportunities.
100%.
And that shop window needs to be as if you had a real high street shop window. It needs to be open, transparent, with all the information available so people can make the decision to come in and open the door.
Absolutely. And I think as well, it's interesting. I've had this conversation a few times with people, and they say things to me like, well, I've introduced some advanced treatments, right? Let's say they're like, oh, I'm doing advanced facials now in the salon. And I'm like, that's great. And they say, but all I get are inquiries for nails though. And I say, oh, right. And you look at their social media, look at their Instagram, and it's just a wall of nails.
Yeah.
And you're like, if you landed on this, having never seen this salon before, what would you think they specialize in?
Yeah.
You know, it's not flipping advanced facials, is it? Because I can't see one picture of one on there.
No.
All I see is a wall of, oh, I know, but they're so easy to photograph. Well, you're going to need to get a bit more creative because the message you're putting out, even though you don't realize you're putting it out, is that you're a nail salon and that's what you're known for, you know? Yeah. And I think sometimes people aren't that mindful of what it is they're communicating, or they assume that people see everything, where of course they see a tiny snapshot of these things, you know. And it's interesting that you use the terminology of a shop window, but really social media and the online world has really been a leveler for those people that aren't, you know, on the high street with an efficient with a window display.
So make it be your shop. This is it. It's like, I just think they're missing massive tricks, and if you haven't got a website, I mean, personally, I really struggle actually now living up in the rural countryside of Norfolk. I was trying to I've got a real issue with my neck at the moment, and I need to find a chiropractor. And there's one in my local town, about 7 miles away, and their website's been under construction since COVID. When you go on there, it's like it's under construction, and then I looked, and it's like it'll be coming soon, 2022. It's like, yeah, no, we're now in 2024. And then I tried to find I went to another 6 different chiropractors in about a 20-mile radius. And, you know, not one of them had a website. Shocking. And this is me. And I expect too much.
No, I think that's too much to expect. I think, you know, it's like, come on, it's the 21st century. Yeah, everyone.
But they haven't even got a Facebook. It's like,
well, I mean, I would say
I feel I need to go and do some consultancy for these people.
Yeah, I would say that a website is more important than a Facebook page.
Even if it's just a landing, even if it's just one page with your.
If you don't have a website, then how are you going to get found on Google to begin with? You know, which is still the place.
And that's another whole marketing opportunity that people miss.
Well, exactly. It's one of the biggest, and again, it's one that there are some people that have literally built a business on Instagram, and much like we touched on earlier with why that's a mistake in terms of collecting people's information to email them, it's also a mistake in terms of your visibility on the internet. Because Google are still going to be the #1 place where people look, especially for local searches. So you definitely need that presence, and you definitely need a website of some ilk to make sure that you can have that presence. And people are going to then go and have a look, and they are going to judge you, by the way, as well. And they are going to make decisions.
I made a lot of judgments last night about businesses that I now won't be giving my business to, because I don't feel that they've got anything to offer me, because they aren't available when I'm trying to find them.
No, exactly. And the other thing as well, Sue, is it comes back to, you know, how you do one thing is how you do everything. And whether or not people realize it, if you have a website that is full of broken links, out of date photos, all formatted wrong, nothing works, that says a lot about you as a person and as a business owner. And if people see that, they're going to think, well, if you're cutting corners there and getting that wrong, are you going to be cutting corners elsewhere? You know, are you going to be using out-of-date products? Are you going to have a team that aren't trained properly? Am I going to come out feeling more mangled from that massage than I went in? You know, they're the things that people are going to be thinking, because how you do one thing is, as I say, how you do everything.
And I'd say as well, one of the most important things that, well, I don't know, I think is quite important. You may have a different opinion. The joy of a website is the pop-up. Capturing their data for your email list. And I'm sure you would agree that that's quite an important thing to have. I'd like to think.
I mean, you definitely want to have the ability to capture their information, 100%. Yeah, whether or not it pops up or not is probably open to debate.
I know, because I have to say I don't like them. I use them sometimes, but I don't like them if I'm confronted by one.
So why would you make your
Yeah.
clients do one then?
Yeah, I know, but we did used to. I've had phases. I think I've gone through peaks and troughs of having them.
Yeah.
I think currently none of my websites that I have in my control have them, but I have had previously. But that whole thing of data capture and getting their email from them is important. And whether you
absolutely
via your booking system or whether you do that via another method on your website.
100%. Yeah, absolutely. And again, it's critical, really, because how else are you going to continue the conversation with them?
Yeah.
You know, and not everyone, in fact, few people are going to come on, look at your website once, phone you up and book an appointment. Most people aren't going to do that. They're going to go away and mull it over and let life go in the way a little bit.
More to it's all the touch points, isn't it? Now you'll know this. What's the current number of touch points?
Well, I mean, 20 was the last that I heard. But I mean, it changes every single time.
It doesn't it? I know. I think the first one I heard was 7, then it was 11, and then now it's back 20.
So for anyone that's thinking, that's how many times someone has to see you on average before they feel confident enough to actually book something with you. And yeah,
if all they're seeing is photos of nails or photos of brows, they're not having a touch point with you. They're having a touch point with an image of somebody else.
Right. And I mean, that still counts, but it's not as persuasive, as it were, as what some other touch points might be.
Unless they love the nail art that you've done, or
unless they love the nail art.
Brow shape.
What would probably be better was seeing those first pictures of those nails and then getting an email about how you really helped someone that had, you know, a nail infection or something, and then seeing a video of you winning a nail competition at Nailolympia, and then, you know, then reading another story in the paper about you winning a local business award or whatever it might be, you know, and eventually someone, then it tips the balance and people are like, oh my God, I've got to do business with these people. And of course, a lot of that happens all subconsciously, you know.
Indeed. Anyway, I think we probably should leave it there. We've been on for a very long time, which is always good.
Right. We've set the world to rights.
We have set the world to rights. But this is what I love when I get people like you on, Ryan, because we can, like, the thing is, we know each other, so it's an easy conversation. But also, it's just, I think, you know, and I know, like, we've probably got about an hour and 15 minutes, something like that we've been on here for. But the wonderful joy of podcasting is you can just press pause, get out the car, go indoors, do whatever you're doing, get back in the car, press play, and just carry on listening. And that's what I love about it, because it is, I probably should only do half an hour episodes, but I just, when there's so much value in the conversation, I just think it's, you know, you can pause and come back.
Yeah, absolutely. Well, look, I mean, in terms of some resources, if anyone is really interested,
and that was call to action.
I did a presentation at Professional Beauty this year, all about using email to sell simple stories. I have since done an online version of it, which I've stuck on our YouTube channel. So that is just up there, public for anyone to go and find. So if you go to the Salonology YouTube channel, which literally just type Salonology into YouTube and you'll find it, and go up to the recent uploads and you can watch the whole training that I did on email there. So if you want to get better at email, or if you're just not getting any sales at the moment, then I promise you there's a better way. It's a different way, but it's better. So go and watch that full training and it'll do it justice.
Absolutely. I know I've got to go and watch it too, because the thing is, no matter how many times I've gone through different things with you or with other people that specialize in marketing, is that I quite often just sit on these things just so, because it's always good to have a refresher, and things you think you know, you might sometimes you might be out of date, you might have lost touch with reality slightly, and you know, the world of technology's moved on. So it's always worth going back and revisiting. But it does, doesn't it? You know, and like I was saying to you the other day at PB, it's like, you know, your talk and the webinar you did yesterday couldn't be better time, could it really? I mean, there's a thought here, Ryan. Did you actually hack Facebook and Instagram? Just so it timed in with your talk?
I'll tell you what I did do. So as soon as I saw it went down, I sent an email out to everyone.
I received
saying it's down, and this is why you should come along to my online training about email. And I had maybe 30 or 40 people book on from that one email, which again, the timing was just
it was amazing. But it is, but I think it's scary, isn't it? Because I mean, I'm quite fortunate that I have got email lists, but just more for my personal stuff. I was like, oh my God, have I been? Because, you know, I've got my whole world I've got photos, so many photos on there, and just historic stuff that is my life. And for me, that was more of the concern.
Yeah.
But for many people that do not have an email list, and I know a couple of people that have got big followings that recently have been hacked and they have lost everything. And it's taken them about 4 months to get Facebook back to any kind of normality.
If you even get it back, you know,
Yeah.
there's no shortage of people. If you don't have the little tick these days, they are not going to help you if you get hacked.
No.
Not at all.
I think we're probably coming to the end of this, Ryan. So have you got any amazing tips for us? What's your greatest piece of advice that you can give to the audience?
Greatest piece of advice. Yeah, I mean, it's such a wide scope, isn't it, on that? But you know what? One of the things that I find a lot of people, was that the dog? Excellent. One of the things I find that a lot of people get wrong, and that is that they are constantly waiting for the timing to be perfect before they do something. And as a result of waiting, they miss opportunities.
Yeah.
And I really just feel like I wish that I had known that myself in the past. And I wish I had taken more action and not waited for quite so long for so on so many different fronts, on so many.
I'm with you.
Business,
I'm with you.
Personal, everything. It's like we wait until, you know, we got our ducks in a row, you know, and I don't know if you've ever had ducks. They don't stay in rows.
No, they're quite, they waddle around quite a lot.
They waddle around a bit. You'll lose one. Yeah, exactly. They do all sorts of different things. And I understand why people want all the timing to be right, but in life, it's just never going to happen. You've got to just, if you want to do something, just go for it and figure it out afterwards. Because if you're going to sit there and wait for it to be perfect, it's a bit like the analogy. If you're at home, if you want to wait for all the lights to turn green before you set off, then you are never, ever going to leave the house, you know? So go for it. Just throw caution to the wind more often and go for it. I wish that I had done that in my younger life.
It's that whole out there is better than perfect.
100%. 100%. Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. I think, and it's a very, very important thing to consider. So anyway, would you like to tell us about what you have available to people?
Yeah, of course. Yeah, thank you. So as I say, if anyone wants to go and check out the training I did, that is just out there on our YouTube channel. Anyone can go and watch that for free. I have written a couple of books. The second one is available right now. The first one has got more 5-star
somewhere. It's not in my eye at the moment.
Yeah, I know you had it in your magazine, so thank you for featuring
have it in the magazine.
I appreciate that. But anyone can get a copy of it. They can buy it directly from me. It's not on Amazon yet. You have to buy it directly from me. And if you just go to the website salonmarketingbook.com, then you can get a copy, and it's just £1 plus the postage. So that's before it goes on Amazon, because Amazon just take all your profits. So before they do that, I want to get a copy of it into as many hands of people who I know as possible. So salonmarketingbook.com, and it's £1 plus the P&P. And right back where we started, if people want to work with Hollie and myself, and if you're sitting listening or watching this today, and if you know you've got another level that you want to get to, if you want to grow the profits of your business or enjoy a better work-life balance, then maybe our group coaching program, our Gold Club, could help you. You can just go to salonologygoldclub.com, salonologygoldclub.com. It's £67 per month, and that's it. And even as those words fall out of my mouth, it even sounds too inexpensive, Sue, and it is, but that is still the price at the minute.
And also, but also what you need to remember is that in the club, you don't only get the benefits of Ryan and Hollie and the magic they've worked with their businesses, and that they continue to work on the business they now have, but you've also got how many's in there now?
About 400.
About 400. And you've got all of those other salon owners that have been working through the program for years that can help and advise. And you've got, I know the only name that's coming into my head is Sadia. And because I love Sadio, and I know I can't think of the other girls' names that are like on your team.
Well, I mean, we got a team of like 8 people now, so
Yeah.
we've got quite a big team, and there's loads of people on there, and basically it's a combination of community coaching and also online programs. So we've got a huge library of awesome online programs, not just from us, but from dozens of other experts as well. And we feel it's a resource like no one else is offering in this industry.
And also, and you don't have to be a bricks and mortar salon owner. You can be any type of salon professional business owner. To be in Gold Club. And it is, I had a lot of value out of it. And I say a lot of it for me was like very social, and it's just that sort of camaraderie that is in, and it's a really friendly, open, transparent community. There's no bitching, there's no nastiness. It's a really nice place.
Well, when we actually set up 10 years ago, we wanted to, all I saw was people slagging each other off, ripping each other down, taking the mick out of each other's work, really toxic groups for our industry, sadly. And we really wanted to be the antithesis of that. And I said to Hollie, if we're going to do a group of some description, we're going to be the ones where people actually help one another. And that almost comes back to what we were saying earlier about looking to actively repel people. If you're one of those, if you're like a mean girl and that's your thing, I'm not interested in helping you. So don't even bother clicking on that link. I only want to be around people that are nice to actually be around. And thankfully we've managed to have that up until this point.
Yeah. Because I think as well, one of the things in there that's really nice is like everybody's quite protective of Gold Club, and they're all quite protective of each other. And and everyone just kind of, if someone gets a success, everybody it raises the boat, doesn't it? When one person in Gold Club does well, it kind of lifts everybody. It does, and it also shows for other people what's possible and what's achievable, because they're all just normal people in there. So just like you and I, they're normal salon owners that have normal businesses, but it helps to demonstrate what is possible, because most people are operating miles beneath what actually is achievable for them, and it shows what is possible. And that for all of us acts as inspiration and helps people want to then push on even stronger for them and ultimately live their best life. That's what we're all here to do, isn't it? To try and enjoy life as much as we can, and to get the things that we want out of life, whatever they are. They're different for everyone, but we're fortunate enough to be in a position where we're a business owner, and our business should be able to pay for us to live the life that we want to live. The problem is that for many people, they haven't yet got their business to that level. And that is the thing that we help people with. And as I mentioned earlier, we've got people that have been with us from the start and never left. So I take that as a compliment that we're doing things the right way, And you get to go to Christmas Gold Club party too.
And you get to go to that. And we do an annual conference as well, massive party. We do all sorts of things,
Lots and lots of things to do. So do connect with Ryan on his various platforms, and I really hope that everyone's learned a lot about the value of email and even more like a general kind of why you should be marketing your business.
Yeah, I mean, we barely even touched on email, really.
No, I know.
But I hope that there was some value there for everyone as well. Yeah. And it was, a pleasure to chat with you today, Sue.
It's lovely chatting with you too, Ryan. So let's discontinue. So thank you very much, everybody. And I'll see you on the next one. Thank you, Ryan.
Bye.
Bye.
Thank you for listening to Inspiring Salon Professionals. If you've enjoyed the podcast, please subscribe, leave a review and share with fellow industry professionals that you think may enjoy the show. Links and further information can be found on the show notes or on my website www.suedavies.org. Here you can also find some downloadable free guides that you may find of use. You can also hear from me and join the Inspiring Salon Professionals community on my Facebook group. Thanks again and see you next time. Bye for now.